Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to be doing another most anticipated books video. I am doing these quarterly because it's a lot easier and gives me an opportunity to introduce books that may not have been known at the beginning of the year. I did a first quarter one, which I will link up above, and this one is going to be my second quarter video, so April, May, and June, and there are less books than there were for the first quarter one, but there's still some that I'm really excited to share with you, so let's get started. Alright, so there are several books coming out on April 5th, two of which I want to talk about. The first one is The Midnight Watch, and this is a book about the SS Californian and the fact that it was one of the ships that was close to the Titanic when it was sinking, and they didn't go to the aid of the Titanic. And so this is a story of, I believe it's an officer and the captain who were on board the SS Californian. It's a fictional view of what could have gone on that night, and it also includes the perspective of a third-class passenger on the Titanic and the perspective of a reporter who was reporting on the tragedy and the ships that did or didn't come to its aid. And this is something that I am super excited about. I think if you've been around my channel long enough, then you know how much I am obsessed with the Titanic, and I read a lot of non-fiction about the Titanic and the history and its passengers and things like that. But this is the first time I have seen a fictional book about the Titanic or about the events surrounding it, and I'm really excited about it. The author is actually a former ship's officer and a lawyer and has done a ton of research, so I'm very, very hopeful that this is going to be a really fantastic story and really well written, and I'm super in a historical fiction mood right now, and so couple that with Titanic and I am all over this book. Also coming out on April 5th is The Lilac Girls, and this is a story about three women. One of them is German, one is Polish, and one is American, and it is around the events of the Second World War. So you can imagine with a German and a Polish point of view that this is going to be something that's pretty intense, I'd say. I have already read this book because I was lucky enough to get a NetGalley copy of it, and it is a heartbreaking and also very encouraging story about these women, and their perspectives all come together. And I kind of assumed how the German and the Polish ones would come together, but I didn't understand how the American story would come into it because I didn't know who Caroline Faraday is. And I'm not going to talk too much about her because if you don't know who she is, it's really interesting how she comes into play into the story. But it's basically about concentration camps and the aftermath, and specifically Ravensbrück and the experiments that were done on some Polish girls at Ravensbrück concentration camp. So it's definitely one of those books that is going to be intense, and I will say that there are trigger warnings for self-harm and rape, so if those are things that you're worried about, then maybe pass on this book. They're not super in detail, but they are there, so I want to put that out there. But this is definitely a very interesting and very intense story, and if you are into World War II stories, or if you have any sort of fascination with what went on with this point in history, it's definitely a really interesting look into Ravensbrück concentration camp. And yeah, it was upsetting, but definitely something that I was looking forward to reading, and I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to read it because it's fantastic. So the next one comes out on May 3rd, and it is The Blue Bath, and this is probably one of the ones I'm most anticipating. I cannot wait to read this one. It is about an American expat who goes to a gallery, I believe in London, and sees her face on a painting, and it brings back all these memories and a past that she thought that she had long buried, because she is married, I believe, with children, and this painting is from many years before when she had an affair with an artist, and it seems from the description that it goes back and we see, you know, that time in her life mixed with what's going on now, and it threatens to sort of tear apart her life and her family. And this is the kind of story that I just love and get super into and invested in, so I'm very excited about this one. I cannot wait to pick it up. On May 17th, Summer Days and Summer Nights comes out. This is another one of those short story collections that Stephanie Perkins organized or whatever. This is basically like a companion to My True Love Gave to Me, and while I'm not super into YA right now, I might do a video on that, by the way. I am excited about this because I did enjoy My True Love Gave to Me, and I love short story collections, so I definitely want to pick it up. It's 12 love stories, I believe, just set in the summertime, so interesting, something I think I would enjoy as a light read. So the next book comes out on June 7th, and it is Homegoing, and this is a book that I don't know that I would have picked up without hearing about it on Book Riot's YouTube channel, and it sounds really fascinating and intense, and probably it's going to be pretty heartbreaking. It's about two half-sisters who are born around the same time, unbeknownst to each other, in 18th century Ghana. One of them grows up to live a life of comfort and privilege, married to an Englishman, and the other is imprisoned and then sent to the Americas as a slave. And I don't know much more about it than that, but it sounds like something that I really want to read and understand, and it's got a lot of history woven into it, and yes, this one sounds amazing, and I'm so glad that I heard about it on the Book Riot channel. So there you go. Pretty short list this quarter. I think that's probably because I'm in a historical fiction mood, so I went more towards those books and I didn't look at a lot of other genres, but I am excited about all of these, and I think that realistically I probably will get to all of these, which is not so much can be said for last quarter's. As far as which books I actually have read from my list from last quarter, I read Every Anxious Wave, and I read I'll See You in Paris. I do own The Forgotten Room and Fall of the Poppies, but I haven't gotten to either of those yet. I ended up marking a couple off of my list, I think, because I've heard some mixed reviews and I'm not super into YA right now. So The Love That Split the World is one that I'm no longer interested in reading. I'm still interested in the other ones on the list, but they're just not high priorities anymore. So there you go. The list can change as time goes on, which is a big part of why I wanted to do these quarterly instead of doing a year-long one, because by the time I get to September, I may not be anticipating some of the books I thought I'd be anticipating at the beginning of the year. So I like doing it this way because I feel like I get a bigger variety and a more true perspective of the kinds of things that I'm into and anticipating from publishers. Alright, so with all that said, I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day. If there are books that I didn't mention that you were excited about or you think I might be excited about, I would love to hear about them in the comments. And if you are interested in reading any of these books, definitely let's talk about it in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye!